Hello, everyone. We are going to go ahead and start. We've got our recording going right now. So welcome to the free conference webinar. I see a question in chat about accessing the PowerPoint. I'm sorry, that's my fault if I wasn't clear. There's not really a PowerPoint for you to access and download. We just put a slide up that says freeconference.com so you'll know you're in the right place and you're in the right webinar. That's all. There's not a PowerPoint. To that end, a couple of administrative things. So we do have the call in presentation mode, which we'll be discussing, by the way. And that just means you're all muted, not because we don't want to hear from you. We definitely do, just because we're recording this. We're going to provide it as a resource to you and to everyone else who couldn't make this, and hopefully post this online as well. So we want to make sure to cut out background noise and that type of thing. If you have a question, we want to answer it. So we will be manning the chat. If you, again, just to give you instructions for that, if you hover on the right side of your screen, a toolbar will slide out. You'll see some chat balloons. Just click on those. You should see the chat screen and you can chat with us. By way of introduction, my name is Kara. I am the I'll turn my video too. I am the freeconference.com global account manager, and with us is Sarah. She is our customer success manager. She's going to allow me to focus on going through the presentation. So if you ask questions, she'll be answering them for you in the chat. You can ask them real time, and then at the end, we'll go ahead and take questions as well in chat, just in case we didn't get to you during the call or you've kind of thought of something. So ask us anything in the chat. That's absolutely fine. So anyway, welcome again. We're going to go over a few things today. We're going to show you your conference settings. We want you to customize your experience. We think it's pretty powerful how much a few tweaks here and there can actually take your calls from good to great. We're going to be showing you our own smart search technology as well, which I happen to like. We'll show you how to schedule calls and to launch them right from the dashboard. Just kind of walk through our scheduling wizard. And lastly, we'll show you some of the apps and the support tools so you can get connected no matter what device you're on, and you can find out how to get in touch with us if you need help with anything at all. So having said that, I'm going to be sharing my screen so we can do more of an interactive demo of the dashboard. So bye for now on the video. All right, so the page we're logged into right now, you probably recognize it. That is your main login page. It'll look familiar to you. We're coming back to it for sure, but for now I'd like to click over to the settings so that we can go over a few of our favorites and highlight some of the things that can make your calls a little bit better. So there's a few things you can do here. And first of all, it's good to start with thinking about how you would like people to interact on your call. So in particular, I'm talking about the waiting room. The waiting room, when it's enabled, and you can see the button here, it just slides back and forth and it goes green when it's enabled. That actually allows you to make sure that your call does not start until the moderator joins. So until you join, nobody can talk. If you don't mind, if you want people to go ahead and start interacting, turn it off. Then the first person on the call will hear hold music, but that second person will make that call a live call and everybody can talk. So that's a setting that you can choose to enable or disable based on the requirements of your call. Following that, you're going to want to decide what experience you want people to have and what you want to have when people come in and leave the call. So you probably can tell the way that I have mine set up is I've got a tone. So just a little bing plays into the call when people come in and when people go out. That way I know things are happening, but I don't have the name announce on, so I don't have that playing over my call. Some people definitely prefer to have that name announced. They want to know who's coming in and who's exiting. So again, that's up to you. You just slide them based on your requirements. Along those lines are something we kind of touched on right away when the call was starting, and those are the overall moderator controls. So you can definitely enable these in the meeting itself, but they can be enabled as a preset for all of your calls as well. So the default is always going to be conversation mode. That means everybody's got an open line and can talk. Smaller interactive calls, of course, you want it to happen that way. Everybody wants to be able to participate, so that's the default. But if you know you're going to be doing a webinar or a one-to-many presentation, you'll probably want to start the call with a muting mode enabled. So you have two choices. You have presentation mode, where moderators are the only one that are allowed to have open lines and callers cannot unmute their own lines, or question and answer mode, where you do allow the participants to unmute their own lines. So again, that's up to you. Just remember which one you have as your preset, because if you choose presentation mode and then you go back to smaller calls, everybody will be muted, and you want to make sure that you go back into that conversation mode if needed. So now we're going to touch a little bit on a topic that is pretty important these days, and that's security. We've got a couple different ways for you to make sure that your call is secure and that nobody gets into your call who shouldn't be on your call. So first of all, we have given you, just for signing up, a permanent access code and moderator PIN. So let's say you've had that code and that PIN for a while. You have standing calls every Monday at 10 a.m. and you've had it for 6 months. It could be that that code is now in the hands of a lot of people and you just don't want it out there anymore. So what you can do is to actually go ahead and get a new code by clicking that. That is a permanent change. Please remember, it is not something that you can change back either. So just please remember what you've done and make sure everybody gets that new code. You can do the same thing with your moderator PIN. If you feel that that's been compromised, you can get your new PIN just by clicking on that button. And that only affects you and your moderator PIN, so not quite as critical as the access code, I think. If you do not want to take such drastic measures and change everything, we actually give you the ability to enable your security code, which is the second layer of access beyond that permanent access code. So if I turn this on, I can choose any code I want from 0 to 9 digits and save it. And then that way, callers, regardless of whether they're on the phone or on the web, will be required to enter that code in addition to the access code. And that's something you can change back and forth for all your calls. You'll also see later in the scheduling wizard, it's something you can enable as you're scheduling your calls. So I think the next thing we'd like to point out is a great feature. It's our pinless entry and SMS text messaging, fancy name for text messaging notifications. This allows you to enter your mobile phone number into the platform and save it. And when you turn on your text messaging notifications, you're going to get a few things. First of all, you're going to get reminders on your mobile phone about your meetings. Super helpful. If you're like me, it doesn't ever hurt to have multiple reminders happening, whether it's on your calendar, your phone, the more the better for me. And if you're calling in to that meeting and your reminder pops up, you can just click on it and join. It's super easy. The other notification that you'll receive is a text message if somebody has joined your call before you have. To me, that's a really helpful one. I'd like to know if somebody's there 5 minutes early, what I'm walking into. So I love that notification when it pops up. And I think Sarah has a slide to show you of what that looks like on your phone.
Yes. Hi, everybody. So yeah, this is what it will look like on your phone. So the first one at the top is what you will see if someone has already logged into your conference call by phone or web. And the second one is what you're going to see as a reminder before your scheduled calls are set to start.
Yep.
I'll hand it back to Kara.
Yep. All right, great. I'll just get my screen back up here. Oh, the other thing, sorry, I almost forgot this, is that we have the pinless entry, that first thing right there. So if you've got your mobile phone number in there and you dial into any call that you've set up or that you've been invited to on Free Conference, it'll pop you right into the call. So no need to enter anything, and the simpler the better in that case, I think. So let me move on to our recording and live streaming. So I want to make sure here to let you know that some of these features, depending on the plan that you're on, may not be available. So we're going to go through them, but please check if it's something that you're interested in, that you make sure that your plan accommodates it. And I'll show you in a moment how you can do that, how you can upgrade really easily if one of these things looks like something you use. But again, just so you know, these aren't available on each and every plan that we have. Recording your call can be something that you do automatically for every call. You have the ability to set that in your preferences. So if you just click on this and you just have the audio, great. Now you've enabled the system to record all of your calls, but only the audio, only the MP3 stream will be captured for you. If you want to capture the entire meeting, so the visual plus the audio, you're just going to record the online meeting. And that's what we're doing today, of course. So we're recording all of the video, screen sharing, everything that's happening, so we can provide you with the entire experience afterwards. That's what the online meeting will do. A lot of people don't know that you also can live stream via a YouTube dashboard. It all sounds like super technical. It is not, I promise. You just need to set up your account on the YouTube Live dashboard site. You'll get 2 pieces of information that you just pop in here and save. And just by checking off that live stream, you're going to have a virtually unlimited audience. Anybody who can access YouTube can access your stream. You do have the ability to set privacy, just so you know. But the point is, if you want a very large audience, you can absolutely have it with YouTube. And last, certainly not least, because this is my favorite, is our QAI Bot Smart Summary. So when you check that, you're giving Q the ability to pop into your meetings and begin to automatically transcribe everything that's happening. So like our CEO has told me, some of the best things about free conference happen after the call is done. And I'm going to show you why that is. So I've transcribed a few meetings, Q has transcribed a few meetings for me on this platform. And let's say that I know that I had a conversation about logos, but I don't remember what we talked about. I really need to know what we talked about. I need to know the details. So instead of combing through all of my meetings and going into the recording that I know is there, I'm just going to type that word into the search bar, and it's going to pop up any calls that I've had where that was mentioned, or if it was part of the title. Anytime that word comes up, you're going to see where it was. I'm like, great, I found the call. So now I can actually go right to that call. I will get all of the information. I'll get who's on the call, how long they were on the call. I'll get this nice hashtag cloud here of information about all of the features, all of the topics that were talked about during the call, times, dates, and places. And going back to that word that I typed in, logo, I can actually get that, click on it in a part of the conversation, and it's going to take me right to that part of the recording where that was said. So no fast forwarding, dragging that cursor back and forth, trying to figure out. It's literally right there in front of you. So I think that is a great feature to have. Okay, so let's go to back to the main page. Those were some of the settings. Let's jump into the main page and just kind of take a quick tour of what it's telling you. At the top of the page, we're going to give you all the details for your call. Your dial-in number, your access code, and if you hover your moderator pin. The online meeting room URL, which is just a really long way to say that's the link you need to get into the call with Chrome that you can copy and paste. We'll give you a really quick way to copy the details over onto your clipboard so you can paste them into any Outlook meeting or email or chat or anywhere you want to. You can see your past calls. You can look at all the details of your calls. And again, that would be things like what we just showed you when I was looking for the other call. You can look at calls you have coming up. And this is where you would edit your calls. So if you need to change the time or add participants, that's where you would do that. You get a handy reference for all the calls that you have scheduled or that you've been invited to on free conference today. So you can see I've got some others going on, and I can click to expand those. for your plan will give you a very handy ticker of all of those premium minutes that you've used for the month. So any toll-free or premium international numbers that you've used, we'll go ahead and put that right there so you can see every day how many you have and how many days you have left in your cycle. Joining by access code, that's actually an underutilized part of the dashboard, I think, because you don't actually, if you've got like, say, 2, 3, 10 users in your organization for a free conference, all you need to do to join one of their meetings is to put their access code in here and click join. That will take you right to their meeting. So, no need to put that URL into the browser. You can just quickly pop the access code in there and jump into their call. Starting a meeting is right here. Couldn't be easier. Click on it and it launches your online meeting. I want to back up and make sure that I'm also clear that this can be a teleconference platform only as well. So you do not have to join online. You don't have to use the start button. If you're on the phone, just dialing a number and entering your PIN will start the call. This is just a way for you to join the online meeting very, very quickly. Speaking of dial-in information, that tab in the middle is going to give you everything related to your teleconference. So again, your conference details, a nice little summary of our star key commands, far and away the most popular one being the mute and unmute with the *6. Everybody can do that, whether they're a participant or the moderator. You can mute your own line quickly just by *6. And of course, our list of dial-in numbers that you can choose from for your callers all over the world. Now for the scheduling wizard, we've really tried to take a lot of the work out of your hands. We've made it as user-friendly as possible, allowing you to put in the title of the call. I always try to title it because that's gonna just make it easier for you to reference that call in your history instead of a general, free conference call. I always name my calls. You set your time and your date, description if you like. You can make it a recurring call if you want to do that as well, just like you're used to in all of your other calendaring platforms. And one security setting that is not available as a like an overall preset, but as a one-time setting, is the ability to generate a unique access code. So if you do this, you're going to get a code that is relevant and good for the date and time of your meeting only. It replaces your default code. So again, just another way for you to hold a much more secure meeting. You can even add that extra security code to the one-time access code if you wanted to. The participant screen is exactly what it says. If you've got some people preloaded into your address book, and we'll show you the address book section in a moment, you can just click on them and add them. You can add them one by one up here as well if you don't have them entered already. And it's important to note that everybody in this section here will receive an invite. And the conference options screen, that's where you'd go ahead and click recording. If you don't have that set automatically as a setting, you can go ahead and turn it on as part of the scheduling process as well. So you're going to choose, first of all, is this a call where you're going to make some premium numbers available to your callers? So again, toll-free numbers, some international numbers, ones that do come out of that bucket of minutes that are associated with your plan. Or do you just want to use our free set of dial-in numbers? Either way, you can automatically record, again, your audio, online meeting, choose to live stream or not, and the queue summary. Choose the dial-in numbers you'd like for your participants, and then review your settings. Make sure everything looks good. You can go back and change anything you want to, and then the call scheduled. Everybody who's on my list has gotten an invitation for that, and they can RSVP. So what I want to do now is kind of jump into a few things that will make your life a little bit easier, including our robust help section that we have for you. So with the address book, we were just talking about that. It's the same as most address books you'll see. You can import your CSV files. You can add contacts. You can choose your groups. This is one really nice thing that you can preset. You know, if you've got a sales group or a development group, you can go ahead and create them here. So in that invitation process, it just streamlines it for you a little bit. But you can build that all up before you even start inviting people to your calls. If you do a lot of recordings, we do have a tab that will give you a list of all of the recordings that you have. So you have the ability to find these in your past calls, but this is a nice way to find the entire list. This also gives you several options to distribute them. So you can download the recording, you can copy that link and send it off to people. You even have the ability to listen to it by the phone with a dial-in number and access code as well. And that's all going to be found in your recordings tab. We have quite a few apps for you. So if Chrome isn't your thing, that's not a problem at all. We have a Windows, a Mac, and a Linux app that you can download, bypass that browser entirely if you like. We also have Apple and Android apps for you to download, so you can join right from your phones and streamline that experience from your devices, from your office to your car. And we do have an Outlook plugin for you Outlook users that will put an icon right into your email and allow you to generate your conference details and schedule calls right from your email. So no need to even use this dashboard if you don't want to. I do want to talk about the connection test a little bit. I think it's something that is important to provide to your callers for an online meeting. Of course, this diagnostic isn't relevant for dial-in users, but for anyone who's joining online, it's going to run them through a very robust list of system checking tests. So you can see my microphone's working great. I can check my speakers, my input. It even gives me a connection speed test, so I can check that out too, and allows me to make sure that my video is working as well. If you provide this link to people before the call, they can do a test and make sure that they're able to join the call before the call starts. And that gives you a lot more time to be productive in your meeting versus troubleshooting things like microphones and video, etc. Now, last but not least, I do want to point out our help section. So as expected, we've got a big list of articles, frequently asked questions. We have a user guide you can download right up here if you want to read over that. We have a YouTube channel, a playlist that will take you through some short videos. I know I'm a visual learner, so these are great as opposed to reading through articles. They're very helpful. We have a status page that lets you make sure that all systems are operational. I'm happy to say that they are. Everything's good. We have a chat bot. You've seen me close this down a few times here. We're here to chat with you. If you need help, you just type us a question. We are monitoring this chat all the time. It's a great way to get your questions answered super quickly and efficiently. If you prefer, you can submit a ticket to us. Once again, we have an amazing customer support team that is there checking for those tickets and responding very, very quickly. And we're not in any way, shape, or form afraid of phone calls. So we put our numbers right here. Please call us. We can do things like walk you through that YouTube dashboard or talk to you a little bit more about the chatbot. So we're definitely here for you to help make your experience a great one with Free Conference. So I do not know how busy Sarah's been with the chat, but oh, nothing. So at this time, if anybody has a question, anything that I didn't go over quick, in depth enough, or anything you want to follow up on, please chat it into the area, and Sarah and I will answer it for you. Just to remind you, we will be sending this out to you as a resource for you after the call. You will also have the ability to rate the call after it's done. Please do that. Please provide feedback to us as well. We'd like to hear what you like, what you wish we'd spent more time on, something that you want to see covered in the future. We really want to make sure to be responsive to anything that you're looking for. Doesn't do us any good to talk about it if it's not something you want us to talk about. And Sarah also just gave you our email address, which is support@freeconference.com. So let us know what you want to see in the future. Thanks everybody so much for taking time out of your day. We hope this was useful and productive, and have a wonderful rest of your week. Okay, bye-bye.